According to Mr. Cooper, the Kyrie was played from a score. However, the parts were immediately reclaimed by Mrs. Bonds following the premiere. He goes on to say that from Mr. Cooper's, something about the work. Margaret Bonds alluded to the work herself in an interview at one point, and she talked about the work being associated with a Negro idiom. But Andre Thomas states, perhaps the term Negro idiom is the one that implies freedom of strictness of the usual procedure, which we do find in this Kyrie. If one were to investigate the fugue written by Nathaniel Dett in early black composer, The Ordering of Moses, a cantata, one would find that the same type of freedom from procedure is found that Margaret Bonds referred to. So what I thought would be interesting would be to show you the Kyrie and see if we could read through some of it. If y'all are game for that.
Definitely.
It hasn't been heard in those many years, and I think it would be very interesting if we could read through it.
While you're getting that up, can I ask a question?
Yes.
For the Credo, did you say, has Rollo performed it yet?
He has not.
He has not. So that's in his plans next?
You know, he did not say. He expressed to me a desire to think about having it published, but he's running into the same.
Publishing is going to be a problem, but
issue.
at least
Yes.
I just wondered if with his own choir he was just to hear it, doing it that way. And can I give an interesting, a little strange side note that I realized as you were talking about a couple of things. I was the assistant organist, a substitute organist for St. Philip's growing up. That was the organist, Clarence Whiteman in Virginia, was the regular summer organist, and he would have me go and be his substitute on some Sundays in New York for St. Philip's. And William Cooper wrote masses for our church choir because they were good friends. So I have a lot of William Cooper's music. So I'm going to go back through our church archives because you said that and see if by chance some of the choral stuff came from Clarence Whiteman to St. Stephen's in Petersburg, Virginia, because they were all friends. And I didn't know it until you said St. Cooper. I heard St. Philip's yesterday and I heard it today, and it just dawned on me that's the same St. Philip's that I used to go to.
That's a wonderful connection.
So but that's what this does. And sometimes it starts to. I had completely forgotten that I used to do that too as a teenager.
And I will say that I think this is going to be a tremendous undertaking to reclaim and rediscover this music.
Yeah.
It really grieves me that something this beautiful is not being heard and not being performed. I think it's really bad. But last week I had the experience of when I was trying to put all of this together. I called Bourne Publishing in New York City, and I was talking to the man on the phone, and I was telling him about Margaret Bonds, and I was trying to locate a specific piece of music. And he looked on his computer and he said, "I don't have it." And I said, I'm quite sure it's not going to be on your computer. Do you have an archivist that you can let me talk to that will perhaps do a little digging for me? And he says, "No, I'm telling you, we don't have that." And so I insisted, and he put me on hold, and he came back and he said, "Yeah, I've talked to the person who specializes in that. It's not here." And so I say that to say that we're going to have to insist, politely, of course, professionally, but we're just going to have to insist that someone or we be given the permission to go into these archives and dig, because here in the computer age, they're not putting everything on the computer, and things are just going to be sitting somewhere on a shelf and just sitting there rotting away. So we're going to have to be insistent, because sometimes they don't have the wherewithal. And I'm sure he was busy. He must have been getting 500 phone calls. He just didn't want to take the time to really do that, or he may have not had the time, and I appreciate that. But we're going to have to be insistent. So what happened to my city?